Hi, this is Reg Athwal and welcome to another episode on Reg Athwal TV. And this time we're going to be talking about The One Thing. That's the book on this book video's episode. This is an absolute classic, New York Times bestseller, Wall Street Journal bestseller. Came out in 2013, written by these two great gentlemen, Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. It's full of really good, simple techniques to just get absolute focus and become productive in your life and your business. So I'm going to be taking a few things from it today to share with you in this book video episode. So let's kick off and we'll go really fast with this video today. And for those of you who haven't seen some of the others, there's another 6 episodes on the channel. I'm trying to do at least 2 or 3 of these every week. So don't forget to subscribe to find out when the new ones are out. But for now, the focus is on the one thing. So they say in the book, what's the one thing that you can do this week such that by doing it, everything else would be easier or unnecessary? This entire book is about techniques, about funneling down to the one thing, the thing that's most important, that could lead to extraordinary results. It's not about doing lots, it's about doing the few things really well. He says in there that he found an interesting pattern between success and failure. Where I had had huge success, I had narrowed my concentration down to one thing. And where my success varied, my focus had too. So he talks about going small. If everyone has the same number of hours in a day, why do some people seem to get so much done than others? How do they do more, achieve more, earn more, and have more in their life? If time is the currency of achievement, then why are some able to cash in their allotment for a lot more chips than others? The answer is they make getting to the heart of things the heart of their approach. They go small. So what a powerful way to start this book video. And he talks about lies, okay? There's lies out there that people for years, trainers, coaches, businessmen, CEOs have been talking about, and based on their research, they're saying that these are just lies. The 6 lies between you and success. 6 lies. Number 1, everything matters equally. It doesn't. Multitasking works. It doesn't. A disciplined life is what it's all about. That's not what it's about. Willpower is always there on call, on what they call will call. No, it's not. It's all about a balanced life. No, it's not. Big is bad. No, it's not. So you've really got to buy the book to find out more about those 6 lies. I'm not going to be able to go through all 6 of those. It's not fair to the authors and the book. But here's a few little action steps that you can take. I'm sure some of you have heard of the 80-20 principle, which has been around for many, many years. And it talks about that ratio of taking the 20% of things that can give you 80% of the results and eliminate the 80% that only give you 20% of the results. So Pareto's law is based on that. So here he talks very, very briefly about, looking at your list, to-do list, could do, could do, could do, could do, should do, could do, and basically moving over to your success list, which is only having those 3-4 key areas of things that should be done, and forget the rest. But then he moves to the next stage. He calls it extreme. Okay, if you look here, extreme Pareto's law, where he says 25. Take the 20% of your top 25 things, go down to 5, take the 20% and get down to the one thing. And then only focus on that one thing until it's absolutely done before you move to the previous list of 5 things or 25 things. It sounds very simple, but I think it just needs to be put into practice. He says, I want you to go small by identifying the 20%. So then I want you to go even smaller by finding the vital few of the vital few. The 80-20 rule is the first word, but not the last about success. So take it to that extreme, infinite level of 1. No matter how many to-dos you start with, you always narrow it down to 1. So I think that's really good advice from the 2 authors. Moving on to the next stage, they talk about how people get distracted in their daily work routine. And one of the things he talks about is people do primary work, then get distracted, and then do primary work. So really it's like up and down throughout the day, when really it's all about focused effort for a number of hours from start to finish to make sure that the primary work is completed. And you don't need 8 hours, 10 hours, 12-hour days to do this. You could do this in a couple of hours, maybe even a 4-hour period in a day where you could just be highly efficient to focus on primary work. So not primary distraction, primary distraction, focus only on primary, start it and do not budge until you finished it. So other things that he's got here is every time we try to do 2 or more things at once, we're simply dividing our focus and dumping down all the outcomes in the process. Here's the short list of how multitasking short circuits us. Okay, so for those who think multitasking is the way to go based on this book, it's saying it's not. Number 1, there is just so much brain capability at any one time. Divide it up as much as you want, but you'll pay a price in time and effectiveness. Number 2, the more time you spend, switch to another task, the less likely you are to get back to your original task. This is how loose ends end up piling up. Number 3, bounce between one activity and another and you lose time as your brain reiterates to the new task. Okay? Those milliseconds add up. Researchers estimate we lose 28% of an average workday to multitasking ineffectiveness. Wow. Chronic multitaskers develop a distorted sense of how long it takes to do things. They almost always believe tasks take longer to complete than it actually is required. Multitaskers, number 5, make more mistakes than non-multitaskers. Now, they often make poorer decisions because they favor new information over old, even though the older information is more valuable. And number 6, multitaskers experience more life-reducing, happiness-squelching stress. So it's very simple. Primary goals, narrow it down to 1, focus on that, and just start it and finish it rather than getting distracted or multitasking. Now, years ago, I did my own research about this whole 21-day habit thing that's been around for many, many years, and it's been published in many books. And I did my own research and discovered that if you do something, one thing, consistently every day for 21 days, you have not developed a habit. You've just started the process of changing something. And if you do it for another 21 days, you've now started the whole process of transforming something and developing a habit. But if you do it for the third 21 days, take it up to 63 days, you now lock it in, not only as a habit, but transformation starts to happen. And what I love about these authors is that they've done their own research and they got to 66 days. So we're very close with the research I've done and what they've done, 3-day difference, but we're pretty much saying exactly the same thing. So they say here in the book, how long does it take to establish a new habit? They were looking for the moment when a new behavior becomes automatic or ingrained. The point of automaticity came from participants who were 95% through the power curve and the effort needed to sustain it, and was about how low it would get. They asked students to take on exercise and diet goals for a period of time and monitor their progress. The results suggested that it takes an average of 66 days to acquire a new habit. The full range was 18 to 254 days, but the 66 days represents a sweet spot, with easier behaviors taking few days on average, tough ones taking a lot longer. Self-help circles tend to preach it takes 21 days to make a change, but modern science doesn't back that up. It takes time to develop the right habit, so don't give it up too soon. Decide what the right one is, then give yourself all the time you need and apply all the discipline you can to summon it and develop it further. So it talks about big ideas. Don't be a disciplined person, be a person of powerful habits and use selected discipline to develop them. Number 2, build one habit at a time. Success is sequential, not simultaneous. No one actually has a discipline to acquire more than one habit at a time. Super successful people aren't superhuman at all. They've just selected discipline to develop a few significant habits, one habit at a time over time. And lastly, give each habit enough time. Stick with the discipline long enough for it to become routine. Habits on average take 66 days to form. Once a habit is solidly established, you can either build on that habit or, if appropriate, build another one. So that's a really great, segment of the book that's talking about, it's not just about self-discipline or disciplined action. It's about breaking that down. It's about developing really good habits, and that can't be done just in 21 days. You've got to have that regular replication, duplication for an average of 66 days or longer. The next segment talks about willpower and energy. And in the book, he's got this chart here that talks about morning break, afternoon break, end of day. And they've researched when people are trying to make decisions and trying to get results where they've got these peaks and then they have a break. They have these peaks and then they have a break. And what it really talks about here is that when it comes to willpower of the day, there are degrees of willpower strength. Like the battery indicator going from green to red, there is willpower and there is won't power. Most people bring won't power to their most important challenges without ever realizing that's what makes them so hard. When we don't think of resolve as a resource, that gets used up. When we fail to reserve it for the things that matter most, when we don't replenish it when it's low, we are probably setting ourselves up for the toughest possible path to success. So how do you put your willpower to work? You think about it, pay attention to it, respect it. I love this. It says here, you make doing what matters most a priority when your willpower is at the highest. You make doing what matters most a priority when your willpower is at the highest. In other words, you give it the time of day that it deserves. So what taxes your willpower? What takes your willpower away? Because we can't be like this throughout the entire day. There's peak times where you've got lots of energy, and that's the time to grab hold of what needs to be done, the one thing. So what taxes your willpower? Implementing new behaviors, filtering distractions, resisting temptation, suppressing emotion, restraining aggression, suppressing impulses, taking tests, trying to impress others, coping with fear, doing something you don't enjoy, selecting long-term over short-term rewards. So there's a really good list there. I really like this thing about willpower, that you don't need the entire day to get great results. Pick the morning maybe, pick one thing that needs to be done. Don't spread yourself too thin, as it says in the book. Monitor your battery, monitor your fuel gauge, so you're always at full tank when you're going to go for the one thing that needs to be done. And take time with your tasks. So some really, really good tips here from this book. I'll share a couple of more things with you. When it talks about goal setting and looking at all areas of your life, spiritual life, physical, personal, relationships, your job, your business, your finances, the key exercise here is to look for the one thing that needs to be done in each areas of your life. So for example, what's the one thing I can do to help others in your spiritual life? What's the one thing I can do to improve my relationship with God? That could be on the spiritual life. My personal life could be, what's the one thing I can do to improve my skill at book videos, okay, or creating content or speaking in public? What's the one thing I can do to find time for myself to do ABC? Relationships. What's the one thing I can do to improve my relationship with my spouse, with my boss, with a teacher, whoever it may be? And the list goes on. So in the book, it's worth getting the book, and it's got a long list of things that you can check off to stimulate your brain of what those one things could be in each area of your life. One of the things I really enjoyed in the book was the domino effect. When he talks about the domino effect of it takes time to start with one thing, but over a period of time, you could literally build up momentum by focusing on this one thing on a regular basis. So when it comes to goal setting, Here's a few tips. Someday goal. We all have someday goals, okay? Someday we'll do this, someday we'll do that. What's the one thing I want to do someday? Great question. 5-year goal. Based on my someday goal, what's the one thing I can do in the next 5 years? Break it down. 1-year goal. Based on the 5-year goal, what's the one thing I can do this year? Based on the 1-year goal, moving to monthly goal. Based on my 1-year goal, what's the one thing I can do this month? Weekly goal. Based on my monthly goal, what's the one thing I could do this week? Daily goal. Based on my weekly goal, what's the one thing I can do today? And finally, right now, based on my daily goal, what's the one thing I can do right now? I love that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things funneling down, going from wide and narrow, or wide and shallow, I should say, to narrow and deep with those steps. So I love that. I think that's a great, great way of looking at things and breaking things down by going one thing, one thing, one thing, one thing, and eventually getting to that key area. In the book, he also talks about life happens, stuff happens. I mean, for those of you watching this right now, during the month of April 2020, you'll know what's going on around the world with the coronavirus, COVID-19, this whole crisis. And one thing I like about this, it talks about life happens, stuff happens in life. And there's 2 types of people, one who plays the victim, thinking game, and the second person who's completely accountable. And here's the steps that one can go through. So if life happens, the victim will have the following things that they're doing. 1, avoids reality. They ask no questions. Number 2, they fight reality. That's not how I see it. They're fighting. Number 3, blames. If everyone would just do their job. 4, personal excuses. It's not my job. 5, waits and hopes. If it was meant to be, it will happen. But the opposite of that, someone who's really achieving success is accountable. So when life happens, their thought process is as following. Number 1, seeks reality. What's really happening right now? Number 2, acknowledges reality. This is the way it is. Number 3, owns it. If it is to be, it's up to me. Number 4, find solutions. What can I do right now? Number 5, gets on with it. Okay, let's do it. So thinking about those areas, where are you right now in that little mind game of life happens? Are you playing one of the 5 victim areas, or are you focusing on one of the 5 areas when it comes to being accountable? And the last thing I want to leave you with to wrap up here, really simple. He talks about the 4 thieves, or the authors talk about the 4 thieves, and the 4 thieves of productivity are 1, inability to say no. That it will just take your productivity away. Number 2, fear of chaos. If you're thinking about fear of chaos, you're eliminating good productivity. Poor health habits, so it goes back to the willpower, the battery life and the energy is not going to kick in. And your environment doesn't support your goals. Your working environment, for those of us who are working from home right now with this lockdown situation, you've got to work on your environment. It's got to support your productivity and not work against you. So there's a few tips there. Going back, this is the book, The One Thing. Make sure that you get a copy of this book and focus on the one thing. Go to Amazon. Please leave your comments on the video. If you read the book, what value did you get from it? Subscribe, hit the like button, share the videos. Let's inspire more and more people. And thank you very much again for watching today. And don't forget the one thing. That's what it's all about in each area of your life to be successful. Bye for now.